In this video, I'm going to redesign the new BMW M2 CS. When I saw it, I think it looks great. The M2 in general has grown on me a lot since it first came out. However, it looks a little bit too static for me, and I want to add some more automotive vibes to both the front, and we're also going to redesign the rear. The rear is, I think, going to be the most substantial redesign. So let's jump straight into it here, because there's a lot I want to talk about before we go into the actual redesign. So starting with the front view here, the reason why I think this looks too static for me is because of all the horizontal and vertical lines, and then we have this box at the lower section right here. As you can see, this is too boxy for a BMW. BMW is supposed to be fluid, emotional, automotive. You can see we have two parallel lines here as well. What that creates is there's no movement to either side. It's just a static vibe in this area between the kidney and the headlights. We also have this lower section. You see the body color itself goes here, and then we have a black lip at the lower section. We also have this black piece in the lower section right here. What I want to do here is connect this with a piece of body color in the lower section, because now these two pieces, this piece and this piece, they are dragging the design down into the ground. It looks like it's sort of drooping down on the sides with no support, no chin support underneath. So I want to add some chin support for the BMW M2. And in addition to that, as I said, these two lines, I want to have them be in this angle. So I'm going to add some angles to the grille to create some movement towards the upside, towards the A-pillar. So both the grille and the headlights are reaching back for the A-pillar. I want to do the same angle down here. So we have a continuous flow of angles in the same angle for the key elements. So I want to have this go something like this into a more classic design for an M lower section intake. And then this corner right here and this corner would need to add a little bit more radius to this to have it be more smooth and also round out the pieces there. Looking at the internal pieces of the headlights, again, very static, because this is the same thickness all around essentially. So I'm going to add a little bit of thickness, LED thickness, right here in the middle to create some more dynamic feel. And this curve that we have going on the end point of the headlight does not make sense to me. So what I'm going to do is extend this corner, stretch it backwards, so we have more of a classic design for the headlight unit, something like that. So with that said, let's jump into the redesign before we go and check out the rear end redesign and what I'm going to change there. In case you missed it, my 11-hour online class in design sketching is now only $47. If you have any desire to pick up the skill of sketching products using simple tools such as a big pen and cheap print paper, this is something you want to check out. Over the years, I've taught thousands of students from all around the world how to sketch cars and products, and most of them have seen amazing results from my classes. Analog Designer Pro Pack is the full bundle of all my classes I've released over the years, and it's yours for just $47. Check out everything that's included and see what my students have to say in the link in the description, or simply visit analogdesignerpropack.com. So coming into the rear end of the BMW M2 CS, and honestly I think this looks almost more static than the front end design. And I always thought that the headlight unit, if you do this, you would draw a line right here, right in the middle of the top half graphics, you would make a square, a box like this. You can see that the headlights, they sit right in the 50% line, so right in the middle, and that again creates this static feel. It doesn't have an up movement or a down movement, and nothing is pulling in either direction. So again, what I want to do here is just remove some of the lower section of the headlights here, make them a little thinner, remove that piece, and also work on the internal pieces of the headlight taillight unit right here to create some more dynamic feeling for the LED in the lower section. And this piece, check this out, static line, horizontal, vertical lines all over the place. Then we have this funnel design like we have in the new M5 as well. So what I'm gonna do is take this graphic piece and just move it, turn it 90 degrees so that it sits in line with the diffuser. So it's gonna stick out something like this, and then that is going to create a diffuser down here that goes in something like this to create more of a harmonious line, because this corner right here is way too sharp. And also these boxes that we have in the front, in the rear, we have boxes everywhere on the new M2, and that is something that I definitely want to change. Looking at the ducktail, I actually really like this ducktail. It looks great. It's such a pronounced piece, an important piece of the M2 CS in the rear end. However, look at the corners here. Again, I want to have this be a little bit more rounded, so we have something like this going down. Just a subtle tweak. And I'm also going to add a chamfer underneath the taillight that goes into this line right here, into the bumper. So we have more fluid lines in the rear end, and also work on this diffuser, because I think this diffuser is the most static piece that we have in the new M2 in general. And that is something that, again, I just don't feel like it suits BMW to be this static with all these boxes, these squares and sharp corners. It's not BMW to me. So let's change that up and let's see how it's going to turn out. let's check out the result here. Up top, we do have the original M2, and down low, we do have the redesign that we just made. And honestly, I think just these small changes completely transforms the BMW M2, specifically in the front end. Yes, we changed a little bit of angles here for the headlights and the angle down here, but the biggest change, subtle change, that I think helps this design is to have a body piece that is colored down here to create this baseline for the M2. You can see here, it feels like something is missing in the lower section, and this area, this intake, feels like it's just falling down to the ground, nothing here to support it. So that would be the main reason why I added the lower section right there. I changed the headlight design as well. You can see more of a traditional looking headlight unit for the M2, and I think these changes, just adding a little bit of more radiuses in the corners here as well, just overall helps this design a lot, and it looks a lot more organic now, a lot more fluid, a lot more automotive, which is in line with BMW. Looking at the rear end, as I said, I talked about the changes I wanted to make. The biggest change here is going to happen in the lower section with the diffuser. You can see now we don't have these static pieces, this industrial looking design that we have on the original M2. Instead, take this reflector light, switch it 90 degrees and put it in line with the graphics of the diffuser. Extend the diffuser to the length of this graphic piece and bring it down into this area right here. And again, small changes that, in my opinion, makes a huge difference. I also wanted to just smooth out this ducktail a little bit to have some more radiuses, a little bit more fluidity in the upper section as well, and added this small chamfer going underneath the key graphics, which is the rear tail light. In this case, add a chamfer underneath there so it has a base to sit on, and also, of course, changing the design and making the taillights a little thinner, because I think they have the same sort of squarish design to it. I want to have it be more horizontal and stretch out the width of the taillights of the M2. So that is my redesign of the BMW M2. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video.